grade level PLC, so the whole grade level comes together to talk about kids who need some extra support. And then the content area PLCs, so like 6th grade math meets on Tuesdays, and they're planning together, they're looking at data together, and they're determining their next steps. School-wide programs such as PDSA, you will notice in every classroom there'll be a Clean Do Study Act on the board. Talk to your teacher that you're working with about what that means. Lots of schools in Kentucky are using Clean Do Study Act, so it'd be something great to get familiar with while you're in the program. We also, our school's discipline program, Mr. Padula, can you talk about the cards that we have in each grade level?
We do believe in positive behavior interventions, although we have not spent the money to buy the PBIS program, but we do have what is called anchor cards. Each one of the kids gets a card at the beginning of the week, and on there is included the number of times they can go to the bathroom, because middle schoolers have a tendency to be a little excessive. If you remember your middle school years, you know, if you go at the beginning of every class period, how's the teacher ever going to know? So you might as well get out of class 7 times a day. So we do mark on them for that, but it also includes infractions for misbehaviors. If they get a certain number of, if they have a clean card or have less than 4 infractions, they get to have a recess the last 45 minutes of the day on Friday. It may be in the gym, it may be outside, it may be just doing things in the classroom. So it's a reward for that. At midterm and at the end of the 9 weeks, they also get bigger rewards, which could be field trips to movie and bowling, if your card has been clean for that entire time. If you lose your card, whether you literally lose it, or you get more than the 4 disciplinary referrals, you don't get recess, and if you have 2 of those, you don't get to go on the reward trip. So it's a positive motivation for positive behaviors in a positive way, and it's very clear and well defined for the kids to be able to see and they understand. We do include in those an understanding about the IEP, accommodations and modifications that need to be put in place, or any medical excuses that may come out as well. So we use our hearts. I'm a firm believer that education is all about heartbeats and eyeballs, because if the kids don't want to make you happy, they're not going to score well. We all know anybody can fail a test for any reason if they don't care. But if you really want to do well, you do much better than when you have the I don't cares. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we try to build. We are all about relationships. You know, Dr. Sharp's probably going to get a little upset with me. I dress very formally, and so does Dr. Harris, 3 days a week, because that's the role we play. Yet if I'm going outside to play soccer with the kids in recess, I'm coming to school dressed that way. And if it's really hot, I might be in khakis because jeans are a little bit warm. But I dress for what I'm doing that day, and I encourage you to try to do that also. If you're taking your kids to do, artwork in science class, don't dress up in your Sunday best so you can get, paper mache all over you. Dress for the occasion. But don't be afraid of the kids, and don't sit in the back of the room saying, well, I'm just supposed to observe. Because you guys are all smart. You can observe just as well and better when you're standing over someone saying, how can I help you with this? You also learn about the kids, because I have 0 personal space. You may have a lot. And you need to find out from the kids, where are they in that need level? And you can do that just by walking up, because if you don't have a lot of personal space, you want to shirk away. My wife's like that. Okay? So you get to know the kids, you get to understand them, and it is all about the relationship. And that's what we have founded our holistic philosophy on, because we do morning tutoring, we do morning detention, all the way through sports and athletics, because it's about the whole child. And that's why we're here. Any questions? Dr. Harris?
If you have any questions and you don't want to ask here, you can ask later. I can answer anything about academics, curriculum, instruction, and Mr. Bula about discipline, sports, and facilities. So that's kind of how we split our role here. We kind of share everything, but my main role is curriculum and instruction, and his is discipline, facility, all the organizational stuff. So, you won't find us in our office a whole lot. You'll see us probably out in the classrooms and the hallways. But if you do catch us in our office, just step in if you need to and ask a question. That's fine. But we're excited to have you all here. We hope you have a great experience. Actually, I know you'll have a great experience. And I think it'll be a good experience for our kids too. So.
And I'm glad you all are wearing your badges. Please continue to do so. That's part of the Kentucky Center for Safe Schools program, as well as our district policy and the school policy. So if it's not, don't be offended. I try to, and you notice I did say try, I'm not gonna lie to you. I try to get all my teachers to wear theirs. Some of them put them underneath their sweaters, whatever, but it really has a purpose. Be out the hall, be with the kids, enjoy yourselves. And I hope you stick with education. I've been doing this 36 years. I could have retired years ago. All my teachers who are not 55 yet say, wait till such and such a date. And it's like, yeah, they want me to wait till they're 55, but I'm still enjoying myself.
I do have a question.
And driving him crazy.
I was wondering if you could address for our students the social media policy of the school and district.
Social media is a nightmare. I mean, the best thing for a cell phone is probably be a Target in the back of my yard. You can tell that's where I do my shooting. Students are allowed to use their cell phones with permission from the adult on site, but they can only use it with the direction that they were given. So if a student says, can I go out in the hall? They use it at lunch and in the morning in the gym. That's also okay. But if they say, can I go text my mom, and we catch them texting, Johnny Jones down at the BDA, they lose their phone. If they get their phone out walking down the hall to look for the time, and I say, is your phone on? I just put my hand out, and they're supposed to give it to me, and then the parent comes in and signs for it. Faculty and staff have been told, as you are being, that inappropriate use of your phone is equally inappropriate and unacceptable. Okay? It can be a research tool, but this is watching a teacher teach is not time to communicate to your friends about what's the fraternity, sorority, or your roommate doing that night, or are we going to meet at B-Dubs? Okay? That's not what the purpose is at all. It's a distraction. Same thing with the messages that you send. We have to be careful. There is separation of church and state. Dr. Harris and I both attend regularly at the same time religious messages, religious communication with your students, anything that has to do with any inappropriate behaviors, and I mean inappropriate for the middle school students. You don't go ahead and say, hey, I'll meet you at B-Dubs, you buy the first 4 pictures. Probably not the best thing to be putting out because kids can see everything and their eyes are better than mine. They can read. So your phones should be off when you're in the classroom because you're there serving the teachers. You are not to be on the teacher's computer without the teacher asking you to do a task for them. So if they leave the room, that's not time to go check out K-Bella's to see if they have that gun case you were looking for or a discount on ammo at Bud's. Okay, so you need to do it correctly and appropriately. I am not the police officer in the building. I'm not going to come and say, what messages are you sending? Dr. Harris is not either, but I have been known to walk in and unplug computers. So please, you've now been appropriately, did I miss anything?
I just want to add that you're not allowed to post pictures of students
Oh,
either.
thank you.
Our teachers have access to who has a media release and who doesn't, and we have about 4 people in the building that manage our Facebook page and our Twitter, and so they always check if we put a kid on there to make sure they have a media release. But I've seen in other schools some people get in trouble before because they posted a picture of a kid and they weren't allowed to. So it is exciting when you're doing field experience, and you'll see I'll post on if you follow me on Facebook, but I post lots of things around the building, but there's never kids in it because I don't have that media file with me to make sure. So I leave that up to our communications committee. And then one other thing that you probably have heard a lot in your classes, and I think sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other, but just for future, when you're looking for a job, we do check social media. It's one of the first things we do when we're looking at a candidate who might be employed with us. So, and lots of people have their settings to private, but trust me, there's so many ways to figure out what's really on somebody's social media. So be careful with that.
The governor of Virginia had a picture in his yearbook page from 1984, and everyone's asking him to resign. It doesn't go away. My brother died 6 years ago. They have a dorm named after him at the University Farm. And my high school girlfriend posted a picture of me next to him when I had long hair. We were enjoying a camping trip. I shut down my Facebook page for the next 4 or 5 years. It's like my kids didn't need to see me looking that way because that's not the example I reflect back to them. I'm not the same person I was at 18, but I wasn't a bad kid at 18 either. It was just the style of the times was to have long hair. All right, so, you know, please be smart. Do watch your Facebook page. I do check them. A very good friend of mine's daughter applied for a job in this building. I knew her through elementary school. What she had on her Facebook page was not appropriate for us to have as a member of our staff.
Any other questions?
This is your opportunity to ask anything that's on your mind about the school, about the teachers' routines.
And don't be shy. You really can ask anything, okay? And you don't have to ask permission. Can I text to see if Mom wants me to bring all my clothes home to wash this weekend? All right.
Are there any opportunities this semester for open houses or other events that my students might help?
Why don't you share about our weekly message?
So every Friday or Monday, sometimes it's Monday, we send out a weekly message with events for that week. If you can, maybe I can get their email addresses, and I can send that out to you all too on a separate email. That way you'll know when we have ball games, if we have open house, or we have parent-teacher conferences on Tuesday, so we'll have those again in April, I believe. So we have 4 a year. But I can send you all of our meeting dates, all of our times, all of our events. So we have a busy spring sports schedule.
Awesome. Would you all like me to send Dr. Harris your emails? I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
And I know the weather's going to be 65 today, but watch KYT or LEX for school closings. Moorhead Public Radio does put it out there, but it comes after LEX posts it because of that new connection they have. So you'll have to watch them, and they normally post something around 6 o'clock. I have been in my truck coming to work and got the message. All right, so don't roll over in bed waiting because it did snow. It's covered my mom's house on Sharkey Road in the north end of the county, and we've got nothing down here. So you really can't tell just by what's at your residence.
Anything looming in your minds that you would like to ask? Now's your, okay, Sarah.
I wanted to know about the speech team because when I was in high school and middle school, I was in the speech team all those years. And if they need any help or volunteers, I would love to know.
Kelly Crump runs our speech team. She's down in the Arts and Humanities wing, the second door on the right. We have been national champs 24 out of 27 years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. We are normally state champs. We have an outstanding program. We have presented at a variety of venues and activities, whether it be downtown at Coffee Tree, down at a board meeting, or with her going to competitions, and there are current competitions on. Being a student teacher, you've already gotten all the criteria and taken care of as far as the paperwork and all that stuff. So if you would like to volunteer with her, you are eligible to do so and put that additional time in. And I'll be honest with you guys, my first job, I was on my honeymoon in Florida, and the guy got fired for inappropriate behavior. I wrestled in high school and college, and I had played football, so I went and did the interview without a resume. They hired me to coach the next day, and I volunteered to coach everything. I volunteered to coach golf. I was the only golf coach that showed up with a fishing pole. Because the best thing about a golf course is all those water holes. Nobody fishes them, all right? But at the same time, if you are busy doing things like speech, academic team, STLP, football, whatever your choice be, it's harder to get rid of you. Because now they don't replace one teacher, they have to replace a teacher and a coach. And you're also building relationships with your kids. And we run grade checks every 2 weeks on any kid that is involved in an extracurricular activity. That's why we do the after school and the morning tutoring. We have an athletic program that is geared to provide assistance to those kids that are slipping. Unlike KHSAA, they run grades, you're failing 2, you're done till next week. You know, we look at it and say, okay, you've got 2 weeks to bring your grade up, but you must attend tutoring 2 days a week or you can't go to practice and you cannot plan a game. So we have those clearly outlined for the kids. So we're here to be a support network and to help our kids get better and learn how to get better. They're 12. You know, if they try to be smart with you, they're trying to find out, can they? And what's the difference between being a smart aleck and horsing around? And they don't always know where that line is. I'm very friendly with many of them, but you can ask your professor, Doc, I don't cross the line, but I can be very friendly. I sit down and eat lunch with them. I put my arms around them coming down the hall. I'm not afraid. I don't do anything wrong. So, any other questions?
Are we allowed to attend the PLC meeting for mental health?
Yes.
The teachers will probably bring you with them to almost anything they do. We encourage you to also work some of the ball games, and the kids do know if you're in the bleachers or not. They do know if you came. So if you didn't, don't say you did, because they'll know if you're there or not. Okay? I mean, they're just like dogs. They understand whether you really care about them or not. Are you here to get free credits, or are you, here because you want to be a teacher? And they can sense that probably better than Dr. Sharp or I can.
Who else has a question?
And those two were very good.
Anyone? Well, hearing none, let's all give Dr. Harris and Mr. Padula our appreciation. Thank you very much. We appreciate it very much. And we are going to look so forward to our remaining time here with you. We're going to be here in the building through April.
Good.
And you'll see my students doing a lot of co-teaching with your teachers this semester. And they're all going to be teaching mini units.
Excellent.
So feel free to stop in during their lessons, because I know a few of these students would like to student teach in your building
Good.
next semester or next spring.
And I will warn you, if you hear a voice yelling down the hall, that's not me. I'm